എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. ഇന്ന് വളരെ വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കലാരൂപത്തെ കുറിച്ചാണ് നമ്മൾ പരിചയപ്പെടാൻ പോകുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ മലബാർ പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലെ മലപ്പുറം ജില്ലയുടെ പല പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലും വളരെ വിരളമായിട്ട് കണ്ടുവരുന്ന ഒരു കലാരൂപമാണ് ദണ്ഡൻ പാട്ട്. ഭദ്രകാളി അനുഷ്ഠാനവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് പ്രത്യേക സമുദായത്തിലുള്ളവർ അനുഷ്ഠിച്ചു വരുന്ന ഭദ്രകാളിയുടെ ഭൂതഗണങ്ങളായുള്ള ദണ്ഡൻ, അതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു അനുഷ്ഠാനമാണ് ദണ്ഡൻ പാട്ട്. വളരെ ചുരുക്കം മാത്രം അറിയപ്പെടുന്ന ഈ കലാരൂപത്തെ നമ്മൾ നിഫിയുടെ ടോക്ക് സീരീസിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് നമ്മളിന്ന് പരിചയപ്പെടുകയാണ്. തീർച്ചയായും ഭാരതപ്പുഴയുടെ തീരത്ത് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ വള്ളുവനാടൻ പ്രദേശങ്ങളിലുള്ള ഇത്തരം അന്യം നിന്ന് പോകുന്ന നാടൻ കലാരൂപങ്ങളെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നാട്ടു സംസ്കൃതിയെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തുക, പുതിയ തലമുറയ്ക്ക് അത് പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ പ്രധാന ഉദ്ദേശം. Good evening, everyone, and warm welcome to this show. And today we are going to introduce or discuss about a rare folk art form of Malabar region called Dhandanpaattu. Dhandan is actually a part of Kali goddess, and the ritual is related to that. It's not a well-known art form. We are through this series of discussions as part of the NIFFFI Nila International Folklore Film Festival. We are envisaging to bring such art forms and the people who are practicing it into the limelight. So this is just a short beginning. And today we have joined with respected teacher. He works with NSS College and he works with the English department of NSS College. And his name is Rajeev. And warm welcome to the show. And he's going to talk about the present situation and the total context of social fabric in tuning such art forms in a larger scale. And we are joined with another researcher from the same region, Vallunad region, Rahul Pulavar. Warm welcome, Rahul. Rahul is a researcher and he's a traditional practitioner of Tolpavputtu. So I think it's a right blend. So Rahul is going to talk to Rajiv, the respected English teacher, and his passion is to explore traditional performances. So we are going to explore further on the Dhandanpaattu today. And so warm welcome to everyone, each and every well-wishers of NIFFFI Wiley. And over to you, Rahul. Thank you so much.
A warm good evening to you all. Nila International Folklore Film Festival 2021 is bringing in front of you a talk series, which is really going to speak about the folklore, tales, arts, and cultural studies in a wider perspective. Today, it's the third day, and we are going to have a look on the traditional art form called Dhandanpaattu. Dhandanpaattu is a unique folk song performance which is offered to satisfy Mother Goddess Kali. In Malabar region, during the festival season, it is performed in these temples. And we are very happy to host Dhandanpaattu performance of Ravindran, Muralidharan and Subrahmanian after this talk. We are very happy to get Sri Rajeev G, who is an assistant professor of English in NSS Hindu College, Chenganasheri. Sir, it's to you. I welcome you to be a part of this NIFFFI 2021.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be a part of this.
Yeah. To start up the discussion, I would like to know more about Dhandanpaattu and how is it associated with the Kali worship?
Okay, so actually even I was thinking about, making an introduction, and I was a little bit apprehensive, how should it be and where should I place it? Because if you look through the whole tradition of ritual practice in India, especially in connection with the religious practices, I think I would like to bring in Ashish Nandi, who is also a well-known psychologist as well as a social theorist. So there is an interesting remark made by Nandi. That, he says that traditionally, if you look to South Asia, the whole South Asian region, you can see that in South Asia, the question of faith or the matter of faith, it depends upon religious practices. So, I would like to begin from that point rather than talking about this, extracting it out from this performance out from there and talking about it. So, as we all know, we have a large quantity of rituals, especially India and also South India. So, if we look, maybe our childhood, if you look at every Keralite or also with regard to Tamil Nadu, you can see that the ritual practices, there are numerous ritual practices. For example, in our area where we live, we have this theatre, this padayani. It's all done in connection with sacrificing, satisfying or getting favors from goddess Kali. So as far as even with regard to all the mythologists, be it the anthropologists, so all of them, they acknowledge that Kali has always been such a significant part of the whole psyche. I think that's it's already been established many times. And with regard to, and also, I would also like to mention or add something about this, the idea of ritual. I think that the idea of ritual, it has also got this psychological elements in it. And now, coming into it, how this whole Dhandanpaattu and all, and why there is this worship of a female deity? Why this concept hold such a significant space in our psyche? Is another question which I think also we need to explore. So this how this deity, if you go back to the history of the religious history, there could be many other similar figures in other cultures. So Theyyam, I think that I would like to, when it comes to North Malabar, and also this Dhandanpaattu has also got connections with the Malabar connections, and it has evolved in Malabar. So I think that you'll have to begin with the Theyyam, which is a dominant form of practice as well as a form of worship, with regard to in connection with Kali and all. So why there is then there could be many questions like who is Dhandan, what is this, how can we connect it to the whole Kerala tradition, and how can we connect it to the Kodungalur temple and the main deity there. And also, I think that in a way, we can also connect it to the myth of Kovilan and Kannagi, because Kannagi has got connections with, or in a way, Kannagi herself is the main deity of Kodungalur. And then, this smallpox question, which has always been there, how this, dancing out or how performing this ritual keep away from, how it helps us to in a way refresh ourselves and rejuvenate ourselves and keep away from all these fears of diseases, pandemic, endemic, and such kind of stuff. So, and also this performance studies, the question of performance studies and how the rituals and all. So that's where I think that I shall begin with. And now I think I'll begin with, what is this Dhandanpaattu? Part means a song, that is a song. And who is Dhandan? Dhandan is actually believed to be one of the warrior or one of the assistants or one of the aid of a goddess Kali Bhagavati, because you have this form of address as Bhagavati in Kerala tradition. You call, and it is. I think that it is also got some fertility. Maybe you can connect her as a fertility goddess too, because you have this. If you look through the various anthropological, maybe one or two texts which I would like to refer here is this from Ritual to Romance by Jesse L. Weston and The Golden Bow. I think that both those books talks about this notion of fertility and how you can connect it with worshipping and all. And as we all know, this if you maybe you would be watching the performance after this, so you can easily say that it's actually practiced like any other such rituals. caste being a central notion of, or this central concept which you can bring in while discussing all these rituals. It is practiced by maybe agrarian community or lower caste. I don't know whether you can address it as lower. Maybe that caste is always, the caste question is always there. And another interesting factor or notion which I would like to associate with this, I found it interesting that what you give in sacrifice to this Kali. So there is a long narrative, and if you can analyze the text which is sung by these performers, you can very interestingly, I think I would like to bring in the question of animal sacrifice. There you have this rooster sacrifice. And why a rooster? And it is brought in. Like the performers ask Dhandan to be there, and how can we satisfy you? And they actually offer her many such kind of, whether you would like to have a rooster or something else, and they say that Dhandan, as if the Dhandan is replying that I want a rooster. So I think that rooster also has held a very significant space in this Dravidian culture, because if you look up to a deity like Subramania or Velayudan, it's also got this subaltern angle where in certain parts, at least in certain parts of Tamil Nadu and all. So he uses, it's believed that he uses rooster as his vehicle. So I think that in a way, why I want to bring in this idea is that I would like to connect it with Dravidian concepts. Now I want to place it in the Dravidian concepts and all. So, this Dhandan, actually, if you look up to this whole performance, what happens is there, immediately inside, even within the performance, this rooster is offered as a sacrifice so that, he'll be satisfied. And in a way, you can also satisfy goddess Kali. And Kali is also I think that Kali can also be associated with war. I think that you have this the concept of Shastava, similar to that. Goddess Kali with her attire, with her appearance and all. I think that we can also connect it as a war lord or war goddess, or somebody whom you can worship before you let out on a war or something like that. So, and also I think that we have another interesting representation of Kali while I'm making this presentation that comes to my mind is about a famous play by Girish Karnad. So Girish Karnad has a play called Hayavadana, and Hayavadana also there is an instance of Kali appearing, and even though he has presented it in a very satirical manner, but still I think that all this shows how much space she has amongst us. South Asians or South Indians, even and Calcutta is actually very much familiar for Kali worship and all. So, and now let me come to this Dhandan part. And Dhandan part is actually, it is performed at night. It commences at night. It is performed at night, and you have this ritualistic drawing with colorful powders and all. They draw this rose
as
and
we
columns.
know, so folklore is having its own functions to do to the society. That means in educating, or in doing the fertility, or in curing. This is having its own perspective, and we can see here it's visualized as clear. Dhandanpaattu is having that certain functions that is doing in this society, for this society. While we are looking at the literary concepts, or when we see the Dhandanpaattu performances, it is really narrating and worshipping Shiva as its god deity. So can you describe more about how the Shiva Vaishnava conflicts and all?
Well, obviously, even again, coming to the history of South India, you can see that the Shaiva Vaishnava conflicts has always been there, and it's almost in an amalgamated form. Just like Hinduism, it is in fact it has got, now what we are practicing here is a mixture of all these notions or all these concepts together. But earlier, if you again, I'd like to bring in the Savadara movie, which is a very well-known movie. It has very deeply narrates this issue of Shaiva Vaishnava conflict and this Kali worship and all. I think it has you will have to connect it with the Shaiva concept, because the Shaiva how these Shaiva believers or the because Kali is believed to be a daughter of Shiva, and Shiva is also worshipped as Veerabhadran. For example, even if you look up to certain temples which has got strong Kali deities, you can come across that there could also be this Veerabhadra, and also this notion of Shiva Shakti. I think that the Shakti and Shiva together. So this idea of Shakti and Shiva together can also be connected with this Shaiva conflict and Shaiva concept. And Shaiva concept, you cannot think about a Shaiva concept without Kali. So that is where I think that you can connect it to this Dhandanpaattu. It is actually, it becomes full only in connection with Kali. Shaiva cannot be, the Shiva, the whole Shiva concept cannot be seen in isolation without Kali and her team. I think that she's always present as with her Bhudaganas. Okay, now shall I just talk about that rows and columns? How that ritualistic drawing.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. You can speak about the columns and how it is.
Yes, I was about to speak about that, because there is that ritualistic drawing with colorful powders. And what is interesting is that all these powders, they're all natural. They're not at all synthetic. Even now, actually they how they create certain colors and how they use what are the different raw materials as they use. Actually, they take rice for white color and lime and turmeric for yellow color, and you have this charcoal which is used for black color, and green leaf for green color. So that's a very, very interesting. I think that there is a uniformity, because you have this. If you look up to all these worshipping styles, columns are used, or this sort of drawings are used. So for these drawings, they use this natural powders. It's also, I think that it is also got, you can connect it with, throughout the Kerala psyche, or the area of the region, throughout they use this thing. I found it very interesting, actually. So that's where I think that I can connect it with that too. Now maybe Rahul, you can come up to, I think, and also, coming to that point where you mentioned about this ritual folklore and all, I think that I would like to add that how these rituals, they are actually, they work as a window. See what we are right now doing. I think that it offers us a window on the cultural dynamics, on the whole cultural dynamics by which, how these people, how people around us, or how the human society or people make and remake their worlds. I think that this is an attempt, every time it is performed, it's an attempt to remake the world. Okay, Rahul.
As you mentioned that this Dhandanpaattu is having the columns, and which is performing with eco-friendly elements and the raw materials used, and they are creating for these columns to worship their deity, and they draw that depicts this worshipping goddess. I think I feel very interesting that these artists are good skilled performers, as well as they are good craftsmen to draw and to bring it and blend with these traditions. And while I would like to ask you one more thing also, that is how you are approaching semiotic analysis of their representations in their dresses and their performative elements, how we can do with a semiotic analysis.
I think coming to semiotic way of reading this Dhandanpaattu, I think that the way, like all other, how they use this, they clasp their hands, and they have this chilamba, otherwise called as chilam, an ornament which is often associated with or an instrument. I don't know whether you can exactly precisely call it an ornament or an instrument associated with the worshipping god Kali. You have this Velichapada concept. And even earlier, we used to have this Velichapada kind of oracle. I don't know whether an oracle kind of concept which is dominantly practiced in almost all the Devi temples. And while talking about this Devi temples, majority of the Devi temples are actually or belong to goddess Kali. And this, semiotically, I think that all this performers, they wear red clothes, and red, it has got many symbolic significance. It shows life, it shows vigor. So wearing this, before the performance commence, they wear this, and it is called Chamannapatta. So otherwise called as red patta or silky material, and they wear this and perform before us. And also, I think that semiotically will also take into consider. Need to consider the fact that goddess Kali is worshipped mainly using this Chambarati Poo. What is the Chambarati Poo? How is it mentioned in English? I would like to.
Hibiscus?
Maybe hibiscus. Is it a scientific name, hibiscus? No, we are not. Okay, so this is also red in color, and even so I think that red has got that kind of a significance. Red has universally been known to be associated with such kind of rejuvenating notions, and I think that is where it's like waking up yourself. It rejuvenates you as a devotee or as somebody who wanted to watch this performance. You go out there and you see this thing from your with your eyes, and all of a sudden, it invokes your senses. I would say that it invokes your senses. I think that is where the whole notion of semiotics lies. Now, all these rituals, even though Dhandanpaattu cannot be seen, cannot be connected with such kind of other performance practices like Theyyam or theatre or any other, but it has got its own semiotics. And this semiotics, I think it lies also apart from the textual content. It also lies in with this red color, and how they uses this this sort of instruments, and how they play it, and how they clap with it, and how the rhythm they invokes, and how that rhythm, the whole rhythm produces, how it sets tone for for a better future. I think that I would like to all this worshipping, especially if you look up to this, you can see that this is mainly done during the February-March. In correspondence in Malayalam, you have this Kumbam and Meena, and Kumbam, the Malayalam month of Kumbam and Meenam, I think it has also got some kind of apart semiotics. It has also got some kind of connection, because that's the time when most of the festivities, it's our festival season. So, even though our notion of festival and programs have changed a lot, now we are into many other sort of ideas and all, but still, this kind of ritualism, it has got its own space, its own significance. And and this both this actually, you can say that it happens during the time of summer, Kumbam and Meenam, and also Kumbha Bharani. You have this Kumbha Bharani and Meena Bharani, which are two very important times or time frames in relation to this goddess Kali in Kerala, because in Kodungalur Bharani is very much famous. It's very much significant, because we cannot imagine Kerala. You cannot imagine Kerala without this Kodungalur Bharani and all. Even though it has got other semiotic, the text. You have this. Even though it gets controversial often when you talk about this kind of Kodungalur Bharani and all, because of other reasons. So I think that the time also has got some kind of significance, and why is it practiced during this month? And I think it can also be connected with its semiotics notions.
Yes, so it was a nice description.
And maybe shall I add one more thing, that and how even inside this Dhandanpaattu, if you look through the text of Dhandanpaattu, you can see that the whole narrative, there is reference of Kodungalur Bhagavati in it. It's actually like Dhandanpaattu, which is actually which lies at the north of Kodungalur temple. And the singers ask each other, where should we bring her from? So shall we bring Kodungalur Bhagavati, the deity, the goddess from our south? So that it's always there. So that is why when I began this whole talk, I think I had connected it with this. We cannot imagine this goddess without this Kodungalur connection. And it also shows that how much Dhandanpaattu is part of all Kerala psyche, even though, and the old Chera kingdom, which actually existed right up to Madurai, right from Madurai up to Kodungalur. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, we can see in the songs the depiction of the clear place of Kodungalur and all. And I would like to ask that from the quotes of Edward Shales, that he mentioned that innovation is not tradition's opposite. And we can feel that the folklore elements and the folklore perspective, how we can retain these traditions. And what are your thoughts of retaining these traditional forms to the society? And can you make some comments on that?
Obviously, I think that because what we are right now doing, we are using technology or digital technologies and trying to document. This is a kind of book writing. I would say that a kind of documenting, because what we, in a way, we can say that what we are right now doing is we are analyzing the category of ritual. We are analyzing this category of ritual, and we are actually doing or proposing another framework, a framework which we can be done with this help of these digital technologies. For example, you are having a very brief chat. It's actually, this is not neither a lecture nor anything like that. It's a chat, but inside that chat, we are actually assessing the ritual activity. So this is a ritual activity, how you can connect it with what is the significance, what are its dynamics, and dismantling. We are actually dismantling ritual as a theoretical framework or a theoretical construct. So I think that all these practices, these forms of practices, and how you can connect with social relationships, because while you talk about this caste and the question of caste, the notion of semiotics and all this, I think that this is sort of the intellectual framework which we are right now offering. I think it will play a huge role when it comes to reviving, or when it comes to surviving. When it comes to surviving, how it is going to help this kind of rituals survive in the coming time in future. And I think that is where the whole significance of this our program or this very initiative taken by us lies. I think that is where I see the future. The future is actually, it's not bleak. It's very, there is light, and it's very hopeful. And I hope that there is always this mention of how this ritual can help one in rejuvenating one. And I think that while we do this kind of things, more people get to know about this. It gets an exposure which can be seen as a very international sort of thing. And I think that the whole idea should be this is how it should be done. And how this sort of things, how I think that I would like to bring in this Frederick Jameson there, because Jameson makes a very interesting remark that he calls that this kind of things as an organizational fiction. So these are all, this belongs to the category of organizational fiction or a textual ploy. How this ritual, the problem of ritual, it can be problematized. We are also trying to problematize ritual. The problem of ritual is, of course, you should also see it as an organizational fiction, and how we actually first constructed it, we first problematized it, and right now we are solving it. That's where the whole question of what lies ahead for this in future. And I think that that is where we would like to we should conclude, and we should leave it to the listeners. Because we are going to have the performance immediately after this. So we mentioned about the performers there. So it's up to them to take it up from there and to move it, carry it forward, and to help it survive, help it thrive amongst so that it will get circulated. The art in an age of mechanical production. Just like Habermas, Jameson, and all such intellects remarks.
it was really nice to speak and to know more about Dhandanpaattu. Really, I would like to thank from my bottom of heart to accepting our invitation and being part of NIFFFI 2021, sir. We once again thank you, Rajeev, sir, to have a wonderful talk, an intellectual talk about this Dhandanpaattu performance. And hereafter this, in our NIFFFI Facebook page and YouTube page, we are going to premiere the performance of Ravindran, Muralidharan, and Subrahmanian, who are the exponents in the field of Dhandanpaattu performance. I would like to invite everyone to watch that performance and have a comment and explore the rhythm of Dhandanpaattu.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And I no longer consider as an outsider. I would, it's almost like a homecoming feeling for me, because there is a wavelength. I think that there is a convergence point, which I found, found out during our discussions and all. And I wish you all the best. And I also look forward to watching it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being part of us.